Welcome to the video lecture for the subject mobile and wireless networks. I am Dr.A.R.Arunachalam. So I'm going to take the fundamental topic of mobile and wireless networks, which is the introduction to wireless networks. So let's get into the video lecture. So today's agenda is about first I will be covering about what is wireless networks, and then I will talk about Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and then I will let you know how Wi-Fi works, and then I will talk about what are the types of wireless networks, and then I will cover the Wi-Fi technology, and also finally I will end up my lecture with showing the advantages and limitations. So first is what is wireless networks? See, as you all know, so I mean the basic fundamental objective of networks is to connect various devices, especially to share data as well as to share various kinds of resources. So wireless network is something like a type of computer network which uses the wireless data connection for connecting network nodes. So the main objective of wireless networks is where you send and receive data through wireless transmission. See, the basic difference between a wireless network and a wired network is where in a wired network you will have a physical wire which is connected between the devices. But that's not the case with the wireless networks. So in wireless networks, you don't have any physical wire in between. So basically you use the radio communication or maybe the wireless communication for transferring the data between different nodes. So here we will be looking at two important terms. One is the wireless fidelity, which is Wi-Fi, and the other one is the Bluetooth. Okay, so I mean these two things you have been often using on your mobile device or maybe on your laptop as well. Okay, so I mean when you talk about some years back, we all used to have wired devices. Now, take for example, you might be using a wired headphone, okay, or maybe you would be using a wired printer, or maybe a wired mouse, or maybe a wired keyboard as well. But now, because of this wireless networks and then because of Bluetooth technology, we are using different kinds of devices. Something like you are using a wireless speaker, you are using a wireless headphone, and then you are using a wireless printer, and then you are using a wireless mouse. Okay, so all kinds of devices now have become wireless, now where you don't have a physical wire in between. So we'll talk about these two things, Wi-Fi as well as the Bluetooth. So first is a Bluetooth. Now, so Bluetooth is nothing but it's a specification IEEE 802.15.1. So it uses a low power. So normally Bluetooth main advantage is it uses low power radio communication, especially to link different phones as well as computers or maybe other network devices over a short distance. Okay, so over a short distance. Now, take for example, if you want to transfer a file from your mobile to someone's mobile, no, normally you switch on the Bluetooth and then you start transferring the data. Likewise, you can transfer data from your mobile phone to the laptop and vice versa. Okay, so like this, you can use the Bluetooth technology to transfer data between any kind of devices, no, where it works on the principle of the wireless technology. Next is Wi-Fi, which is wireless fidelity. So Wi-Fi is nothing but it's a wireless networking technology which allows computers and other devices to communicate over a wireless signal. So obviously, you'll be using Wi-Fi at your home. Now, take for example, you might be having your broadband or maybe your fiber net connection where you'll be having a Wi-Fi router at home. Okay, and then once that Wi-Fi router is configured, uh, then you start switching on the Wi-Fi on your mobile or maybe on your laptop, and then that connect. I mean, it gets connected to the access point or maybe the Wi-Fi router which has been installed at your home. And then once you give the correct credentials, once you give the password, correct password, automatically it gets authenticated and you start browsing the internet. Okay, so I mean it works on the principle of wireless signal. So Wi-Fi is nothing but it's a local area wireless technology. So mainly this works on the principle of the wireless technology. So next is who is the father of Wi-Fi? The father of Wi-Fi is a senior research fellow at Delft University of Technology in Delft, Netherlands, who is nothing but Vic Hayes. So Vic Hayes is a person who's behind the Wi-Fi, and he is called as the father of Wi-Fi. So how a Wi-Fi network works? So normally once you install an internet connection at home, the Wi-Fi router has been configured, and it gets activated as a hotspot, and then that is nothing but the access point. Okay, so the Wi-Fi router is nothing but the access point which can support up to 30 users. No, up to 30 users can start accessing that particular access point. But one thing is, based on the internet bandwidth, the bandwidth gets shared among all the users. Now, take for example, if you have more users in your organization, or maybe in your particular area, so what you can do is you can increase the number of access points so that it can support many users. So many users, many access points can be connected to each other via Ethernet cables to create a single large network. So obviously, when you have more users, you can have more than one access point, and then those access points can be connected through an Ethernet cable to create a single large network. So access point here is nothing but a base station. So this is how Wi-Fi works. So normally you would have seen this kind of a setup where you'll be having a Wi-Fi router at home, and then you can use that same Wi-Fi with your laptop, maybe your mobile phone, or maybe with your desktop or whatever. Now you take for example, even the desktop, if you have installed the wireless card, automatically the desktop system gets converted and start accessing the wireless network. Okay, so you can have multiple devices which gets connected to the Wi-Fi router, where you can utilize the Wi-Fi. This is how Wi-Fi actually works. And coming on to the types, now wireless network types. As you all know, there are four types of networks. Now one is a PAN, next is a LAN, third is a MAN, and fourth is the WAN. So PAN is nothing but personal area network. So personal area network is where you create a small network within your surroundings, maybe in your particular room. Now take for example, you are connecting your desktop with the keyboard, or maybe desktop with the printer. Such kind of a network is called as a personal area network, where you create a network for personal work, maybe within a short distance. And LAN is nothing but local area network, where something like your computer lab in your organization, where or maybe within a building, or maybe within a campus, so where all the systems in the network are being connected, which is called as a local area network. Normally it can cover within a single building, or maybe within a particular campus. But talking about the metropolitan area network, it covers the entire city limits. Now take for example, you have an office at Saidapet, you have an office at Ananagar, and then you have an office at Tambram. So if you wanted to connect all these things, within a city limit, that's called as a metropolitan area network. But WAN is nothing but wide area network, where the distance which covers a large geographical area. Something like you might be having a branch office at UK, and you might be having a branch office at US. You might be having a branch office at Australia. So once you establish the wide area network, you can, just by sitting at Chennai, you can access a file, or maybe you can access the resource which is available in US. Okay, so these are the different types of networks. So as I already told you, there are two basic differences. One is a wired, and another one is a wireless. So wired is where you have a physical connection, but wireless is where you don't have any cable. Okay, where there is no any physical cable involved. So wireless PAN, where the performance will be moderate, and you can do the cable replacement for peripherals, but that's not the case with the wireless LAN. Performance is really very high in wireless LAN, and then the mobile extension of the wired network can be done. And then in wireless MAN, the performance is again very high, but the fixed wireless, but it's nothing but the fixed wireless between home and businesses and the internet. But when you talk about the wireless WAN, performance is low, but mobile access to the internet from outdoor areas. So these are the different kinds of hardwares involved. So something like a wireless card, or maybe a wireless adapter, or maybe you talk about the wireless router. So when you talk about the Wi-Fi technology, so Wi-Fi network uses radio technologies to transmit and receive data at high speed. No, that's what the main key advantage of Wi-Fi technology. That the data is transmitted at a high speed. So here we talk about three things. Now one is IEEE 802.11b, and then we talk about IEEE 802.11a, and then we talk about IEEE 802.11g. So let's see each of them. So first is IEEE 802.11b, which was introduced in the late 1999, where the actual speed was between 4 to 6 Mbps, and it was most popular during that period, but it was least expensive. So the feed range covers around 100 to 150, and it operates at 2.4 gigahertz radio spectrum. So it's nothing but it's an interference from mobile phones and Bluetooth devices, which can reduce the transmission speed. So this is about IEEE 802.11b, and this is about IEEE 802.11a, where it was introduced in 2001, where the actual speed is between 15 to 20 Mbps, which is more speeder than the previous one. And then range, if you talk 50 to 75 feet range, and it is more expensive, and it operates at 5 gigahertz. No, so I'm not compatible with 802.11b. And then next one is IEEE 802.11g, where it was introduced in 2003, where 54 Mbps speed, and it is compatible with B, IEEE 802.11b, and feed range is 100 to 150, and you can combine both the standards of A and B, and the radio frequency is 2.4 gigahertz. So the latest technology in Wi-Fi is where it's called as 802.11 AC, which offers speed up to 1.3 gigahertz per second. So I think that's more faster enough to transfer any bigger size file, something like a high definition movie, to a mobile, maybe to a tablet under less than 4 minutes now, where you can share photo albums with your friends in a matter of seconds, or maybe you can stream HD videos also. So I mean, now the Wi-Fi technology has been, the speed is now much more faster in the Wi-Fi technology, where you can transfer huge amount of data within a short span of time. So elements of Wi-Fi network, as I already told you, access point, which is a very important one, which is nothing but your router. So access point is the wireless LAN transceiver, or you call it as a base station, no, which can connect one or many wireless devices simultaneously to the internet. So access point here is nothing but the Wi-Fi router. And then you talk about the Wi-Fi cards. No, take for example, if you are using a laptop, the wireless card is already inbuilt. But suppose if you wanted to use a desktop, then you have to add that wireless card additionally. No, so it can be external or it can be internal as well. And then safeguards are something like you can have firewalls or antivirus software, which could protect your network from uninvited users and keep your information secure, which is always very important. No, I mean, the confidentiality and the security of the data is very important. So to ensure that, I think you can have some firewalls or antivirus software which can protect your network. So these are some of the advantages of Wi-Fi. It's very convenient, and mobility. And I talk about the productivity, deployment. You can expandability and cost, speed. It's more secure and it's more flexible, and as well as it is more reliable also. And there are some of the limitations. I mean, the interference problems are there, and high power consumption. So sometimes it consumes more power, and then the range is also one kind of a limitation, and then degradation in the performance. So let me conclude. I mean, so Wi-Fi is something like it's a universal wireless networking technology, which can utilize the radio frequencies to transfer data. So here, mainly you make use of the radio frequencies to transfer the data. So Wi-Fi allows for high-speed internet connection. As you obviously know, no, once you have a Wi-Fi router, I think you can make use of a high-speed internet connection without the use of cables or wires. No, so this eliminates the use of wires. So instead of wires, using the wireless technology, you can make use of the Wi-Fi technology to connect to the internet. Since nearly all new laptops come with the internal wireless card. Now, as you all know, I mean, all laptops nowadays are provided with the wireless card, which can support the Wi-Fi technology. So thank you. So let me talk about more things in my next video lecture. Thank you all.